Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Brian and welcome to a new series here on the gaming channel. Today we're going to be, first off, welcome to College Football 27. This game just dropped today for the early access and MVP Plus members, or membership rather, that you could purchase. That's something that EA is starting this Madden slash college football cycle. But yeah, basically this means we get to hop in the game right away. No waiting around. We just get to jump in and start hopefully a long running and sick Dynasty series. So yeah. With that said, it's time to select our team, and I've done a lot of planning on this. Uh, Gone back and forth between a couple teams, but I think what I've found one that is perfect for us to do. It's gonna be a little tougher than last year, just a little bit. But the team I have decided to go with for this Dynasty series is the NDSU Bison, because this team has just been added to the FBS. They just moved up from the FCS after dominating it for the last well, I say a few years or so. But they have moved up now to the Mountain West Conference, joining several other teams who shifted around. A lot of teams actually shifted around between this last season and this year. NDSU was one of them. Now, the downside to this is that we're kind of starting from scratch. Obviously, you can see here the team is rated really low. It's only a 1.5 star program, at least based on the rosters I'm using, which is kind of the most recent ones, so the ones that just came out. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot to work off of. We also have other things we got to take into account for this year's game, which I'll hopefully get into, and hopefully we'll get into together as we explore this game further. But as you can see here, we got Dynasty Blueprint, which kind of just allocates the new Dynasty point system, which is kind of supposed to act similar to NIL, if I'm not mistaken. We got the AD expectations, the athletic director. Basically, your athletic director now kind of matters, and how whether like impatient or patient they are. According to this, we're impatient already, even though we just moved up to FBS. But so that's kind of cool. And then obviously we got our school grades that have been in the game since the first one dropped 2 years ago. So yeah, other information on here you can see we got our win loss record, Heisman winners, national championships, bowl record, but obviously all those are going to be 0 because we just joined. However, the cool thing about NDSU, which this is part of the reason I chose them, is that they've actually kind of produced some decent NFL talent. Maybe not all time, but especially within the last couple of years. So we got guys like Carson Wentz. We got guys like Trey Lance. Well, I shouldn't say Trey Lance, but we got Trey Lance. We got just the recent guy, I forget his name, Greg Zabel, who just is now a Super Bowl champion with the Seattle Seahawks. So overall, we got we got at least a few players, 48 NFL draft picks specifically, that have come and gone through NDSU and gone on to the pros. So yeah, that's kind of another reason why I chose them. Obviously, like I said, this was one of the schools I was thinking of doing. There was a couple of other ones that I had in mind, or was at least kind of looking around, just kind of see what do I want to play with. But overall, I landed on NDSU at the Bison, so that is going to be our team for this year. As you can see, we only have one. Another thing that you can see as well on the bottom there, in addition to your top players, is any rivals you have, and the only rival that NDSU apparently has, at least in this game, is James Madison, who, funny enough, also moved up from FCS very recently, within the last, I would say, 5 years or so. So another thing I will mention is that this series will be run a little differently. As you can see, I don't have a face cam. That is because we are going to be playing this a little differently. I'm not actually going to be playing the game. Instead, I'm probably going to be watching it using the broadcast or the slow sim, version of variation of this game. I know there's something called coach mode that's now in the game. We're not going to be using that. Instead, we're going to watch it as if we're watching the game from like the press box, or from the TV screen at home. So I hope you guys are okay with that. Now, I have done this method of recording in the past, and I felt like it was kind of cool because I get to kind of practice my play-by-play commentating, which I think is kind of fun. So yeah, without further ado, let's waste no more time. Let's jump into this, and let's begin the NDSU Bison Dynasty. Alrighty, so now we are in the main menu for the Dynasty screen for this year's game, and it looks very similar. It looks very clean. I don't really have any other opinions other than that, if you guys are wondering. We still got our similar menus. We got the top 25 preseason, top 25, you can see here. Looking at, obviously, we're not going to be on here because we were just obviously a very new program, at least to FBS. We got our conference standings, which you can see there. We are actually 5th ranked right now, but it's everybody's kind of tied. So there's that. We got the Heisman Watch, got the preseason All-Americans as well, obviously, as has been in there in years past. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is our starting rosters. See, we're 69 overall across the board, so definitely an uphill battle for sure. Our best player being an 87 overall left guard named Griffin Empey. I believe I pronounced that last name right. If I didn't, feel free to sound off in the comment section. But we'll look at our quarterback situation first. We got Nathan Hayes as our starter, senior redshirt from Illinois, Rolling Meadows, Illinois specifically. And then we got Preston Brown. Then we got Trey Drake, Xander Smith. They got 4 all-right quarterbacks. Nothing too crazy, obviously. Like I said, very young team, very new team to FBS football. Then we got our running backs. We got DJ Scott, 83 overall, 85 with a boost. Another thing we're going to take a note of, obviously, is the NIL cost. As they did add that in this game. Not sure how much of a fan of it I am, but I guess it, as I really am not that huge fan of an NIL in general, as with a lot of people, but it just adds another element to the game, adds another depth to the game. So it'll be something obviously that's here to stay for now, and something we'll just have to keep in mind as we try and build this program essentially from the ground up. Got a lot of receivers obviously to look at. Our best one being a 76 overall, Jackson Williams, followed by Makai Collins. And then our third stringer is a 67 overall, technically 68. It's actually the Jacob Kisler has a boost there, making him a 68. But yeah, not a great or obviously the best core in the world. But like I said, we knew this going into this, that this would be a very lower rated team that we'll have to build up with time. Similar to our tight end room, 75 overall. And then our offensive line, we got a 73 starting. Like I said, our best player being Griffin Empey, redshirt junior from Wisconsin, 87 overall. And our center is a 67. That's going to be quite tough to manage, at least at first. Before we upgrade him, we got a 74 right guard and a 78 right tackle. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, we got Matthew Stenbrotten, 76 overall, 79 with a boost, and a 75 and a 69. It looks like a 71 though on the right side. Our nose tackles or defensive tackles, 80 overall. So we got, it looks like a better defense rated than offense, at least at the start of this game. Obviously, if you were to play this in probably a couple months from now, they'll update the rosters throughout the season. And this team might improve, or they might get worse. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for the time being, this is what we got to work with. So, but our D tackle room is actually pretty deep, all things considered. So we got 76 plus players, which is actually kind of nice, at least to me. Then obviously looking at our linebackers, we don't have great. They're not necessarily. I mean, we got one decent one. We got Donovan Woolen. 78 overall, who currently does not want to be here based on his deal breaker playing style, apparently is the issue. And we have F and he wants B. So not sure how that works because he's a starter, but yeah, I mean, we'll work it. It'll work itself out, I'm sure. Then our last few positions here, I don't want to take too much time just looking at the roster. We got Keith Williams at will. Our cornerback room is going to need some work. Our best player only being a 72, DJ Volts and EJ Davis. And then our safeties, again, secondary, we not the greatest. We got Jalen Crumby, and then we got Darius Givens. I really should have researched this before I started playing this, but apologies if I mispronounced his name. Again, you guys feel free to scold me in the comment section if you really want to. And then last but certainly not least, our kicker and punter. We got a 71 overall kicker and a 74 punter. We also have a 70 or an additional punter as well. Obviously, we don't have to cut down our rosters, or we have to cut them down only to about 80 players every season. So we can have more than one punter, for example, unlike the NFL where you only have to have 53 players. Nice thing too I've noticed is that you can see through our starting offense we are obviously running a spread option, it looks like, as well as a base 4-3 defense. It's kind of nice. It kind of shows you the way they kind of look at they look in the like a lineup screen in this just main menu area. You don't have to actually like click into looking at the lineup screen through one of these menus. So it's kind of nice to kind of see it here in the main screen. So it just saves you time, really, just so you kind of know where everybody's at, where they're supposed to start, and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, another thing to look at is something that's called the Dynasty Blueprint. So it looks like we can hire staff, manage our facilities. That's something else we'll have to take into account, is upgrading the facilities. I'll probably do some research outside this episode before I upload the next one. And then we also have recruiting NFL, recruiting NIL, managing roster NIL. Again, I'll do some more background on some of this. I just want to get the game in my hands first and start playing it before I actually watch any tip videos on it or do any research on it. So we'll figure it out. But for now, this is just kind of a lot to take in, especially when you're playing the game for pretty much the first time. So I do think the last thing we're going to look at here, or one of the last things we're going to look at before we close out for the episode, again, this is just supposed to be an introduction primarily. We might set up our board as well for recruiting, but we're going to take a look at the preseason first team or the All-American list, which I don't think we're probably going to have any of our guys on the list, just because, again, we're a very young program. I got some Irishmen, though. That's kind of nice. Leonard Moore, Drake Bowen. I know those guys. That's awesome. They made the first team All-American list. Looking at the preseason second team, probably not going to be any of our guys. Oh, we have another Irishman. We got Kingston Villamo Asa. And that's basically about it there. And then, yeah, we got the national. I guess we do have other preseason teams as well. I guess we go to the Mountain West. We do have, okay, our guard. So we have a guard and an edge rusher on the first team list for the Mountain West Conference specifically. So that's exciting. And yeah, we have a couple more guys making the second team list. But again, our conference is full of various schools. Oh, we actually have a lot on the second team. That's nice. Given that I think we probably are one of the better schools, at least on paper, in some areas in this conference. So speaking of that conference, I think we probably will look at probably should go see who exactly is in our conference, because I'm seeing all these schools, but it's good to at least get another overview of it before we get too deep into this dynasty. So, like I said, we are in the Mountain West, which did lose a couple schools within the last year, so we don't have to deal with schools like Boise State anymore. They were the big, heavy favorites the last couple of years, making the playoffs, obviously 2 years ago, and then last year, I don't even remember who won the Mountain West. I don't know if it might have been Boise State, to be honest, but regardless, we have the Air Force Falcons. We got Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors. We got the Nevada Wolfpack. We got the New Mexico Lobos. We got ourselves. We got the Northern Illinois Huskies, and they are actually new, I believe, to this conference. I forget which one I think they were in the Middle American, the MAC, last year, if I remember right. We got the San Jose Spartans. We got the UNLV Rebels. UTEP Miners, I think they're also new. And the Wyoming Cowboys. So we got Wyoming. And by the way, I'm not going to refer to them necessarily by their mascot name. I'm probably just going to be by the school name itself. But yeah, there's just a quick overview of our conference. If you none of y'all had heard of the Mountain West, or you weren't familiar with it, what it looks like this year for the upcoming season, here is your first little sneak peek of what it looks like and who we're going to be facing this upcoming season. Another thing to look at probably potentially is the Heisman Watch, and as you can see, you can already see who's already in there a little bit. We only got 4 players this time. Last year was 5. We got Jeremiah Smith, obviously no surprises there. Dante Moore at Oregon, Malachi Toney, another one of the cover athletes, and Julian Sands. So it's a little biased towards Ohio State, but hey, they're one of the best teams in college football at the moment, so can't really blame them for ranking them so high in the Heisman voting, or for the Heisman Trophy this early on. Actually, I just realized one of the last things we'll do, I was going to actually just set up the recruiting board before we ended, but I think we actually do need to hire some staff and do some of that right now before we end off. So let's go in here. Yeah, see, we have our coordinators. We also need to hire support staff, it looks like, as well. So that can kind of increase our NIL points and all that. And we only have, I'm trying to think, we have 435 to spend right now. So we'll try and do these as best as we can. Let's say we get a couple of fundraising coordinators, recruiting assistants to kind of help with, gaining recruits. Because again, it's gonna be tough early on getting recruits. So let's make sure we do this properly. I don't want to spend all of our points necessarily right away. So I think what we'll do is I think just to increase our dynasty points, I think we're going to hire a fundraising coordinator. Well, actually, we can do recruiting hours increase. We can also do reduce NIL expectations. That might be crucial. Actually, the more I think about it, because we're a smaller school, it might not be a bad idea to get NIL expectations lower, because again, we're not gonna be able to offer a whole lot. So I think that actually might be the best way to do. Again, I could be doing this completely wrong, but for this first time doing it, I think we're just gonna try this, and that'll decrease the NIL expectation now by 10%. So that'll be something we get to do. I think that's the only thing we really can do at the moment. We can manage our facilities as well. Actually, I guess we can't, because we can't necessarily do anything right now, I don't think. We got a nutritionist. Again, I think we need to. So looking at this section, a lot of things seem to be still locked because of just where we're at, and we're obviously just starting out. But we obviously hired the person we were supposed to, I think, for our staff. So really, at the moment, I think that's all we can really do in terms of our like program staff and anything changes to kind of help us with NIL management and all that. So, and finally, the last thing we'll do to end off the episode is we'll set up our recruiting board. It looks like we're already going to need a lot of recruits. So let's start off with the quarterbacks. We do have an athlete here. I'm actually going to add him to our board right away. Tavita Rayola, who's from Copperas Cove, Texas. And obviously he's an athlete, so he could probably be molded into a different position. It says here he could most likely probably fits quarterback. We do have the expected NIL of 40 points, so we'll have to take that into account. So he's going to want more than the average quarterback. Let's look at let's see. Let's look at Garrison Moss as well, because he has a lower NIL expectation. Same with Mike Sims. I think we'll start off with 3 quarterbacks. That's probably plenty. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rest of this here on my own, and I'll cut ahead briefly to where I'm actually looking at the recruits, and then we will go from there. Alrighty, and after just a few minutes of putting recruits on the board, we have 30 recruits to go over, so let's just kind of go through some of these. Let's start with the athlete, Tavita Rayola. We'll see what he looks like. Kind of looks pretty good, and he's not bad. He's definitely a 2-star recruit. He's we obviously don't know what his dev trait is, but we do have he's expecting 40 NIL. So that's kind of something that we'll have to for sure give him if we want to try and recruit him over. Garrison Moss. Let's search him. We got not bad, but not the greatest. What about some of these running backs? BJ Whitehead. Really fast, decently fast. 86 speed is not terrible. Let's go Dwayne Rita. 86 speed as well. And we do have a gem. And that means he is definitely going to be on our radar. So Dwayne Breida, conference prestige is his deal breaker. So we'll have to make sure we have enough conference prestige so that he doesn't want to not come here or decommit potentially if we actually do get him to try and commit to us, because that actually can happen. Where a commit will decommit last second or flip commitments before they actually sign. So there's that. Also got these wide receivers. Larry Haggins, not the greatest speed-wise. 78 speed's pretty slow, especially if you're a shorter player. Terrence Crispin, that's much better. 86 speed. Then we got the offensive lineman. I didn't realize until I was halfway through doing that there actually was a couple of players that actually had us on their board. One of those being Cortez Veal. So let's scout him. He should be hopefully decent, I would imagine. Oh, it looks like it takes a lot of points, so we just used a lot of hours rather. So we'll have to keep that in mind as well for some of these prospects. Mafau Slaughter. That's a pretty awesome sounding name. Unfortunately, he has taken a lot of hours out of us as well. And he's honestly not the greatest, but he's definitely better than nothing. So hopefully we'll see. Obviously, unfortunately, we are on his list, but we're already projected to be outside of his list. As you can see here, we're number 8, whereas he'll cut off at 5 eventually, where he's after he gets some scholarship offers. I'm sure something that'll happen. Plus, why would he want to come up to North Dakota when we are very cold? And he's from Spring Branch, Texas. We have some corners here that have us on their board as well, and I'm starting to use up a lot more of my hours here. Kyle Bohannon with a decent 85 speed, 6'1" from Exena, Ohio. We got Shamir King, we're 6th on his board. And we might run out of hours, unfortunately, here, but he also has 86 speed as well. Very decent athlete. Man coverage 73, that's actually pretty good. 56 zone is a little concerning, but he's only 5'9", so we'll have to put him in the right spot if we do get him someday, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. Unfortunately, I do realize now we should have probably been putting more of our scouting points on the guys that actually are interested in us. As you can see there, I just used the last of our hours for Tyreek Swope, who's actually first. We're first on his board. We're also first on the board of Marquise Bredesen, as well as Diego Cook. We're also 3rd on these defensive tackles and these will linebackers. A couple more linebackers I added last second. We're actually on their board, so that's a little bit of my mistake. I forgot that. Didn't think we'd actually have guys with us as their most interested team. So right off the gate, so we'll have to make sure that stays that way. Or worst case scenario, we'll have to try and recruit him harder to get him over here to Fargo. So yeah, now that we've done that, I don't think we're going to touch the schedule at all or customize it at all. If you guys are looking forward to that, I apologize, but I think we're just going to kind of stick with whatever schedule we have. We got the top stories. We also can upgrade coach skill points if we want as well. Tim Polasek is our head coach, and we have similar type of tree that we've had the last 2 years. A couple new spots down here. I don't think I've seen these before, but we have 150 coach points to spend if we want to, and we already have the recruiter, elite recruiter one. We also have strategist, and we also have scheme guru as well. I think we're actually going to do a little bit into recruiting. We do have some already. We have also some of these basic ones. We're going to do some more into the defense, I think. So we'll get the defensive line first one. We'll get linebackers as well. We'll also get the secondary line as well, just because we're going to need to recruit a lot of guys early on, because obviously, like I said, our team is not the greatest. Hopefully these give us a little bit of boost. I wish I would have done this sooner now, because it's just allowed us to take less time to fully scout some of those players we had to scout. But you know what? It is what it is. We'll not make the same mistake twice, hopefully. Yeah, we'll hopefully have that better off moving forward. Actually, I just realized we should probably redshirt some of our players before we play our first game of the year. So we do have a freshman in here that we could redshirt. Mason Everett, he's a 60 overall though, so I'm not sure exactly if I want to redshirt him at all. A lot of our players, I noticed a second ago, are already redshirted, so that really kind of limits us on who we get to actually redshirt. We do have Jaron Steele here as well. He's only a 59. He's got the normal dev trait, so not necessarily going to upgrade a whole lot per off season. I'm not going to redshirt any seniors. That would be kind of ridiculous, I feel like. We got a sophomore, Elijah Wayne. I think we're just going to wait. I think we're going to leave him be. I usually try and redshirt freshmen just because, I mean, it's probably good practice to do so, because you want to make sure you have your youngest guys getting an extra year of eligibility before they actually get playing time. Now, that being said, the NCAA just updated the rules. I think starting next year, So red shirts kind of really won't exist anymore. But for this year, we get to deal with them again. So, which honestly is fine because it just gives us hopefully time to save players before they either want to transfer or before they actually, allow them to develop before they actually hit the field. So, but I think that's going to be, I don't think we're actually going to be able to redshirt anybody necessarily, at least in this episode, because a lot of our guys are already redshirted, which is perfectly fine. So that kind of saves us some time there. Okay, and that means now we're going to move into the next week, and yeah, we'll see who we get to play in week number 1, or I guess week 0. So obviously looking at the My School update, we don't have a whole lot of changes. We got a lot of guys that are at risk of transferring, including our best player, our left guard, MP, and then also our championship contender right now is F, which is kind of tied for the worst among all these different schools, but hopefully someday that'll change, and we'll actually get to become more of a contender, but that's probably going to take a few seasons, especially as this is a brand new game, and I'll have to try and work out what works well and all that. So, all right, and it looks like we'll be taking on Jacksonville State in our first game in week 0. But that sadly will just about do it for this episode, as I don't want to make this too long, as it's just supposed to be an introduction video. So hope that's okay with you guys. Again, you probably were interested in probably seeing me actually play the game, but no fret, as I will be playing the game in a live stream later today as I'm recording this. So hopefully by the time this video goes up, you could already have seen me play the game. Maybe not with this team, but probably with a different team, just kind of get the feel of the game and how it works, if it's any different. So obviously with that all being said, that is obviously going to be it for this episode. If you guys have any comments or feedback you want, please let me know. But then again, this game is very new, so anything you guys ask me, I probably won't necessarily know the answer to. Yeah, basically means I'm leaving a lot of things up for mystery and a lot of things up for us to discover, hopefully together, or hopefully, if nothing else, we'll discover along the way as we go along. So yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, part 1 of the Dynasty. Hope you guys are excited. I know I am. Hopefully the next one will be out soon. But for now, that's going to be it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember, as always, to stay safe, be kind, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.